last night as well. This is exactly how it played out. Close to 9 p.m, reports came in about Pakistani drones over Jammu. This time, sirens are ringing in Punjab's Firozpur as well. Take a look at these pictures. The Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister is himself posting updates. He has confirmed sounds of explosions in Jammu, most likely from heavy artillery. That's what he said. He's also issued an appeal to the people living in this area. Stay off the streets and stay at home. That's what the Chief Minister is asking people to do. Beyond Jammu, drones have reportedly been spotted over Pathankot as well. We're hearing that Indian air defenses have been activated again. I would like to repeat that this is exactly how it played out yesterday. The first reports came from Jammu of projectiles from across the border being fired at Jammu, followed by a blackout and a response from India's air defense system. Subsequently, multiple sites in India were targeted. We'll tell you about that shortly. But this is playing out yet again for the second time in 2 days. The first reports again coming from Jammu. These are pictures from Firozpur, as you can see, and similar reports coming from Pathankot as well. The Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir making an appeal, asking people to stay indoors. And a blackout, as you can see, is very much in place. Sirens ringing loud across these cities. There's one question everyone is asking. Are we at war? Well, some journalists have declared it already. Some social media users are asking for it. But are we truly in a state of war with Pakistan? As of now, the answer is no. And we'll explain why tonight. We'll also tell you how India usually declares a war. But first, let's get you the battlefield updates. Yesterday night was tense and chaotic. Between 8 and 9 p.m. IST, Pakistan started firing projectiles at India. We brought you these pictures yesterday. Bright dots could be seen over the skies in northern and western India. The first reports came in from Jammu. But similar scenes were seen in Punjab and Rajasthan as well. Information was hard to come by last night, but now the fog of war has lifted. And here's what we can tell you about what happened there. Pakistan targeted sites across the western frontier, all the way from Leh to Gujarat. At least 36 Indian locations were targeted. This includes Pathankot, Udhampur, Jammu and Jaisalmer. Pakistan fired some 300 to 400 drones. Apparently, the idea was to test the Indian air defenses, perhaps even to gather intelligence. But the Indian military was ready for it. They neutralized most of these Pakistani drones. Later on, another armed drone targeted the air base in Bathinda. That too was neutralized by India. But the army admitted some losses and injuries, though the extent is not clear. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of these Pakistani attacks. Despite that, despite all of these videos circulating, Islamabad has denied responsibility. They claim that no attack was launched on India by them. Today, New Delhi slammed that narrative. The Foreign Secretary of India called it another example of Pakistani duplicity.
The official and blatantly farcical denial of these attacks that Pakistan carried out by the Pakistani state machinery is yet another example of their duplicity and the new depths that they are plumbing in their quest for disinformation. This is nothing but a desperate attempt by Pakistan to disown its acts of aggression, but it is also true to type in its effort to deceive and mislead the world. It will not succeed.
Pakistan can deny all they want, but there is proof of their attack from last night. Projectiles have been discovered from at least 4 sites, from Jaisalmer, from Hoshiarpur, from Bhatinda and from Rajouri. Take a look at this.
Hello.
As expected, India hit back after this Pakistani escalation. We fired drones at 4 Pakistani sites and we took out 1 air defense radar. Now remember, 1 air defense system in Lahore was destroyed on Thursday morning, so this would mark the 2nd successful hit. In other words, India has destroyed 2 air defense systems of Pakistan in 1 day. In addition, India has confirmed major losses to Pakistani forces, though once again the specifics are missing. Now all of this was happening over Indian and Pakistani airspaces, a very dangerous exchange of fire, yet Pakistan did not close their airspace. Let me simplify that for you. Pakistan allowed civilian planes to fly over the region while launching drones at India. Basically, they used civilian planes as shields. It is the definition of a rogue terrorist state. Indian officials pointed that out today. They highlighted that 1 civilian passenger plane was flying overhead during the attack. Take a look at this.
The screenshot we just showed and we shall share with you. It shows the data of the application Flight Radar 24 during a high air defense alert situation in the Punjab sector. As you have seen, the airspace on the Indian side is absolutely devoid of civil air traffic due to our declared closure. However, there are civil airlines flying the air route between Karachi and Lahore. Amongst the other civil aircraft that you can see, we have highlighted an aircraft which is Airbus 320 of Flynas Aviation, which was originated from Dammam at 1750 hours and landed later at Lahore at 2110 hours in the night.
That sums up the updates from the skies. On the ground too, Pakistan was escalating. Around 11 p.m. last night, there was an infiltration attempt. It happened in the Samba sector of Jammu. A group of terrorists tried to enter Indian territory and Pakistani rangers were giving them cover fire. But India's border security force of BSF was quick to respond. They killed at least 7 of these terrorists. They also inflicted damage on the Pakistani post on the other side. Have a look. These are worrying signs for the region. A, Pakistan is escalating despite warnings from India. B, they are refusing to take responsibility for their attacks. And C, they are putting civilians at risk, both on land and in the skies. Look at what they're doing near the line of control. This is the de facto border between India and Pakistan, the LOC, line of control. And here Pakistan is openly firing at civilians. In the skies, they're putting airliners at risk. So India must be mindful of what we're dealing with. This is not a country that plays by the rules. This is a rogue, duplicitous country, which is why New Delhi is covering all bases. Today, Prime Minister Modi convened a meeting of the service chiefs. He took stock of the situation and the readiness. The Home Minister of India convened a meeting of the border security agencies. He spoke to the chiefs of the BSF, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police and the CISF, the Central Industrial Security Force. So clearly India is ready for everything, which brings me back to the original question. Are we at war with Pakistan? The answer is no, and I'll tell you why. War refers to a sustained state of conflict. Both sides will look to keep escalating. They may also have clearly defined political or tactical goals. That is what a war technically is. We are not at that stage here. India certainly is not looking to escalate. New Delhi has called its actions measured and focused. And Pakistan, They have promised to attack India again, but it's not clear if they want to go beyond that. So as things stand, this is a tit-for-tat situation. This is a low-intensity conflict, but yes, it can explode into a full-fledged war at any point in time. Pakistan seems keen on it. Their defense minister says there is no option but war. Of course, this is the legendary Khwaja Asif. So let's wait for 24 hours to see if he makes another U-turn. Nonetheless, if war does break out, who declares it? How does it happen? In many countries, there are rules about declaring war. For example, we have the United States. Their law says only the Congress can declare war. In Indian law, there is no equivalent. What comes close is the declaration of emergency. You can declare a state of emergency if a war breaks out. That decision is taken by the Union Cabinet. It is then approved by the Indian President and finally passed by both houses of Parliament. Of course, we are very far away from all of that. This conflict could end right now if Pakistan de-escalates, if they abandon their ego and follow common sense. Pakistan strikes have exposed one more country, and that is China, their iron brother, ATM, and arms supplier. Pakistan is getting all the help from China. Beijing, which offered to mediate 2 days back, is not a spectator on the sidelines. It is an active player in this conflict. And I'll show you how with the video. This is a field in India's northern state of Punjab. This morning, some missile debris was recovered from here. No crater, no blast, just a wreck. It shouldn't have been there. And it shouldn't have fallen this way. Security teams have cordoned off the site, and some early but unconfirmed assessments are in. They say that this could be a Chinese PL-15 missile. China's so-called next-generation air-to-air missile. It is meant to be precise, fast, and lethal. But from these pictures, it appears that the missile did not even detonate. It fell to the ground like a heap of metal. Was this an operation failure? Or was it just another Chinese product that did not work? Either way, India should take this discovery seriously because clearly Chinese hardware has been deployed against India. The PL-15 is one of China's most advanced munitions. It is designed by the Air Force of the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. This is the Chinese Air Force basically. The missile boasts a range of up to 300 kilometers. In theory, it can change course after it is fired. In theory, it can also outsmart jamming systems. But in practice, it just landed in a field in India. It is possible that the missile was fired during Pakistan's barrage last night. Remember, Indian air defenses have intercepted almost all incoming threats, missiles, drones, everything was shot down. A lot of debris has been found, and it offers more clues of Chinese involvement. More photographs have surfaced online. One of them shows a part of a missile. You can see a serial number printed on it. There's also a small panel. Apparently, this is used to test the missile's tracking system. Another picture shows the tracking device itself. That's part of the missile, which helps find its targets. If these claims are officially verified, this would be the first time a Chinese PL-15 was used in combat. It seems Pakistan just got these missiles. China is said to have delivered them right after the Pahalgam terror attack. So when India retaliated with Operation Sindoor, Pakistan may have decided to use these to fire back their fresh supply of Chinese weapons. Chinese jets too have seen some action. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has confirmed that. He said the J-10C fighters were used during combat and that China was kept fully informed about this, which basically means that China and Pakistan are working together. There is real-time coordination and planning, and that should not come as a surprise. China is Pakistan's largest weapon supplier. We have data from 2019 to 2023. In these 4 years, 82% of Pakistan's arms imports came from China. But the alliance goes beyond weapons. It is strategic and political. After the Pahalgam attack, China has defended Pakistan. On the 27th of April, that's 5 days after the attack, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi spoke to Ishaq Dar, the Pakistani Foreign Minister, and Wang Yi echoed Islamabad's talking points. He called for an impartial investigation. He called Pakistan an ironclad friend. He backed what he called Pakistan's legitimate security concerns. And after Operation Sindoor, Beijing issued similar statements.
China finds India's military operation early this morning regrettable. We are concerned about the ongoing situation. India and Pakistan will always be each other's neighbors that cannot move away.
Clearly, China has picked a side. It may claim neutrality, but its actions say otherwise. It is arming Pakistan, it is advising Pakistan, it is defending Pakistan. China is a third party in this conflict. And it presents a broader threat to India, a threat that we cannot afford to ignore. Vantage continues after a short break.
We're just getting some breaking news before we close out the show. There's been a massive blackout followed with siren sounds that have been activated in Udhampur, a complete blackout in Udhampur. Also, multiple ceasefire violations happening across different sectors on either side of the line of control. So not yet quite the repeat of what we saw yesterday, but still heavy artillery firing happening on across the LOC. Akash has more details on this. Akash, so is it restricted to CFV violations and artillery shells right now? Are we seeing any kind of drone activity yet? Is there any possibility of a repeat of what happened yesterday, or it's following a familiar pattern?
I'm hearing the sirens. In fact, here in Jammu, I'm not allowed to go outside because of the light and some sort of restrictions that are in place. Zaka, yes, we are learning about one drone attack here in Jammu. In fact, defense sources are telling us, and we have heard multiple firing sounds as well. You rightly pointed out on line of control, we are having ceasefire violations in different sectors, not only in Jammu but in Kashmir as well. In Uri and Kupwara, we have been reporting since evening. And at this point in time, in Poonch and in Samba, we are learning about this ceasefire violation from Pakistan, where they are in fact firing the artillery. Here in Jammu, I have heard multiple sounds. I was trying to count 11 at least. I have heard, and I am learning. In fact, defense sources are telling me that it was drone once again. It was a drone attack once again. We'll wait for the police to confirm it as well. But I am learning that yesterday it was the airport, and once again it is in the close vicinity, possibly the airport only. And and agencies are in fact using the AD systems and AD guns to thwart these attempts. Once again, it is Pakistan trying to attack the infrastructure, and not only in Jammu. We have been learning about these sort of activities in different areas. Tejinder is reporting in fact about Pathankot and Samba as well. We have a colleague Anshul and Anvit in different areas as well. They have been reporting about blackout and sirens. But as far as Jammu is concerned, Zaka, so it is very important. It is the international border though, but it's a very part of the sort of attack that was carried out. In fact, yesterday it got started with Jammu only, and at around 8 p.m. This evening also, we heard sirens, and soon after that a blackout was there. Yes, it's a precautionary measure, Zaka, but it has been categorically mentioned by the police and the civil authorities that people cannot stay outdoor, and in fact they need to go inside whenever they are hearing these sort of sounds, and in fact whenever there is blackout they need to go indoors.
Okay, Akash, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. So yes, ceasefire violations are happening in Samba, in Uri, in Tangdar, all across the line of control. We're just getting some breaking news before we close out the show. There's been a massive blackout followed with siren sounds that have been activated in Udhampur, a complete blackout in Udhampur. Also, multiple ceasefire violations happening across different sectors on either side of the line of control. So not yet quite the repeat of what we saw yesterday, but still heavy artillery firing happening on across the LOC. Akash has more details on this. Akash, so is it restricted to CFV violations and artillery shells right now? Are we seeing any kind of drone activity yet? Is there any possibility of a repeat of what happened yesterday, or it's following a familiar pattern?
Let me tell you about last night. India's skies turned into a battlefield. Pakistan launched a brazen aerial assault. They fired 300 to 400 drones and some missiles. 36 locations were targeted. Military sites and civilian areas came under attack. This was across northern and western India. Pakistan's intentions were pretty clear. They wanted to escalate tensions, but the Indian armed forces stood tall. They shot down all incoming projectiles. No casualties, no damage, just debris of the projectiles scattered everywhere. Pakistan's aggression became an embarrassment. Let me tell you how last night unfolded. Visuals of the Pakistani attack came in after 8 in the night, post 8 p.m. The first city to report the aerial intrusion was Jammu. It is 60 kilometers away from Pakistan. Air raid sirens went off in Jammu. Then there was a blackout. Within minutes, Pakistani drones and missiles were seen over the city. Indian armed forces countered the attack. The incoming threats were taken out in less than an hour. At least 8 missiles were shot down over Jammu. A few drones were taken out over Udhampur and Srinagar. 2 Pakistani armed drones were destroyed in Nowshera. These are all places in Jammu and Kashmir. Turkish armed drones were used by Pakistan, and they were the ones neutralized here. Turkish armed drones. Pakistan attempted to target military stations in Punjab. Their drones over Pathankot and Batinda were also shot down. Listen to this.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा और नियंत्रण रेखा पर लेह से लेकर सरक्रीक तक 36 स्थानों पर 300 से 400 लगभग ड्रोनों का इस्तेमाल घुसपैठ का प्रयास करने के लिए किया गया। भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों ने काइनेटिक व नॉन काइनेटिक साधनों का उपयोग करके इनमें से कई ड्रोन्स को मार गिराया। इतने बड़े पैमाने पर हवाई घुसपैठों का संभावित उद्देश्य वायु रक्षा प्रणालियों का परीक्षण करना और खुफिया जानकारी इकट्ठा करना था। ड्रोन के मलबे की फोरेंसिक जांच की जा रही है। प्रारंभिक रिपोर्ट्स से पता चलता है कि वे तुर्की के असीस गार्ड स्ट्रॉन्गर ड्रोन्स हैं।
The Indian Army and Air Force worked together. A range of weapons were used for the defense, both kinetic and non-kinetic. What does that mean? Let me start with the kinetic. Weapons that explode on impact. For example, missiles. The Akash missile system saw action last night. They are operated by the Air Force and the Army. This weapon is completely made in India. It can take out multiple aerial targets at the same time. Last night, it proved its mettle. Let me tell you about some of the other weapons that were used. Like the L-70 anti-aircraft gun. It played a major role in defending Jammu last night. It is operated by the Indian Army. This gun is equipped with an auto-tracking radar. Basically, it automatically fires any aerial threat it detects. And it has an impressive rate of fire. This gun churns out almost 300 rounds per minute. So we've told you about the Akash system and the L-70 guns. But other air defenses were also used. Reports say the S-400 air defense systems were activated. It is India's most advanced air defense system, the S-400. The Modi government bought them from Russia. The deal was signed in 2018. The US threatened India with sanctions over this deal. Despite the pressure, India went ahead with the purchase. And this weapon system has proved to be a game changer. The S-400 can track targets up to 600 kilometers away. Basically, it can see all air activity deep inside Pakistan. Last night, the S-400 may have been activated. As of now, there is no official confirmation on its use. Now let's look at the non-kinetic weapons, weapons that do not rely on impact or force. Weapons like lasers or electronic jammers. So non-kinetic weapons also defended India's skies. This was done using drone jamming systems around the air bases in Jammu and Pathankot. Also projectile locating radars. These were crucial in tracking all the incoming projectiles. They provided real-time information to the air defense units. And this made the interceptions successful. You can see how robust India's air defenses are. There are multiple layers to the shield. But what did Pakistan achieve in these strikes? Well, they tried to test India's readiness. Their intention was to create panic. What they got in return was silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence of interceptions. India's response to Pakistan was clear. You send drones and missiles to attack our cities, we take them out within a few minutes. The successful interceptions reinforced one fact, that India has changed. Its patience has limits and its response is firm. We're taking you back to the developing situation at the border. Pakistani drones are being reported in the skies over northern and western India yet again for the second time in 2 days. What we saw yesterday is playing out all over again. There's a total blackout in parts of Jammu. These are the latest pictures that we have for you. The Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister has confirmed explosions in the region, but he said it was most likely artillery firing. Reports say drones have been spotted over Samba, Kathua and Nagrota in Jammu. We are getting multiple videos from these regions. You can hear air raid sirens and explosions in the background. Beyond Jammu, drones have been reported in Punjab's Firozpur and Pathankot, as well as Rajasthan's Jaisalmer. And this is exactly what happened last night as well. Just before 9 p.m, reports came in about Pakistani drones over Jammu. We learnt later that Pakistan had fired more than 400 drones across the western frontier, most of which were neutralized by India. Like yesterday, we are hearing that Indian air defenses have been activated again. This is a developing situation. We'll keep track of it for you. Multiple places in India along the western border, seeing a repeat of what we saw yesterday. Projectiles coming from the Pakistani side being neutralized by the Indian air defenses. This conflict has many battlefields: the ground, the air, and the airwaves. It is being fought not just with missiles and drones, but also in newsrooms, on prime time, in interviews streamed across the globe. This is a battle of narratives, a test of who can tell their story better and convince the world. And here too, India is winning decisively. You've got Indian diplomats. They're calm and collected, their responses are measured, every rebuttal is backed with facts. On the other side are Pakistani ministers. They think it's fun to wing it on air. And you've got to hand it to Islamabad. For a country that loves war metaphors, they're shockingly bad at the war of words. Look at some recent interviews. We'll start with the Indian ones. Indian ambassador to the US, Vinay Quatra, went on CNN, the American channel. He was our foreign secretary before this. Now he's India's ambassador to the US, so a seasoned diplomat on an important mission. Ambassador Quatra was asked if this is a religious war, a war between Indian Hindus and Pakistani Muslims. It's an absurd question to ask. But Ambassador Quatra made his point loud and clear. He said, India is not at war with Pakistan. India is at war with terrorists. The terrorists who killed 26 people in Kashmir. The anchor also called it Indian-administered Kashmir, but Ambassador Quatra did not let it slide. He reiterated India's position. The whole of Jammu and Kashmir is ours. The only problem is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or POK. It was an interview that packed a punch. But the knockout came from across the Atlantic. From India's High Commissioner to the UK, his name is Vikram Doraiswamy. He went on Sky News and he was armed not just with talking points but also concrete proof. He went on British television and showed this picture featuring Hafiz Abdul Rauf, a sanctioned terrorist, at a funeral. Standing beside him are officials of the Pakistan Army. The picture tells you everything you need to know. Pakistan is not just supporting terrorists, Pakistan is standing shoulder to shoulder with them. You may think, why are Indian diplomats going on foreign channels to make their point? Why are they facing Western grilling? Well, the logic is quite simple. This narrative war is all about perception. If you cannot tell and defend your story, someone else will twist it and write it for you. So that's what India's diplomats are doing. They are defending India's story. Now let's look at the other side of the border, which is quite chaotic, I must tell you. Pakistan has no dearth of talking heads. In fact, they had quite the army to send to foreign channels, like Defence Minister Khwaja Asif, Information Minister Ataullah Tarar, and former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto. Instead of defending, they are scoring own goals. They don't offer facts. They come with feelings and Freudian slips. Take Defence Minister Khwaja Asif. He went on Sky News. He was asked if Pakistan backs terror groups, and this is what he had to say.
You do admit You do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
Well, we have been doing this dirty work for the United States for about 3 decades, and West, including Britain.
It was quite the moment of honesty, I must say, but Khwaja Asif was not the only one sipping the truth serum. Enter Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the former foreign minister of Pakistan. He too popped up on Sky News trying to do damage control. Instead, he let the truth slip out. He was asked about Pakistan's terror links and he ended up saying this.
I don't think that it's a secret that Pakistan has a past as far as extremist groups are concerned. And as a result of this, we have suffered. Pakistan has suffered.
Credit where it's due. This is more honesty than we're used to hearing from Islamabad. Bilawal Bhutto is right, of course. Pakistan does have a terror-linked past. But he skipped a tiny detail. Pakistan also has a terror-linked present. And if things keep going this way, a terror-linked future too. So should Pakistan's ministers get some media training? Well, we can offer some tips. Before setting your ministers loose on BBC and CNN, run a few mock interviews. Or better still, just watch India's diplomats for some time. Take notes. And if that's too much work, here's an easier option. Stick to state TV, read from a script, blame a foreign hand and hope that the world is not watching. They say truth is the first casualty of war. Yesterday, it died 1 million deaths. If you were watching television or scrolling through social media, you would think this was an all-out war. You see, Pakistan is not just peddling fake narratives, it is also peddling fake news, and we have already been debunking them for the last few days. Tonight, we've come with some more examples, starting with AI-generated videos like this one. It talks about India shooting down 2 Pakistani jets. This video is fake. The second is an old war footage passed off as new. Like this image, retweeted many times as India's attack on the Karachi port. Turns out it was a visual from Gaza. Then there's this video of a Pakistani attack on Jammu. The video was from Dhaka. So again, fake, of course. There are also fake headlines, like this one. A Chinese daily shared an old image claiming 3 Indian jets crashed. The image was fake. It was from 2019. A Pakistani handle claimed that a Sukhoi Su-30 MKI was shot down. The Indian pilot was captured. Again, this was fake news. This picture was from 2014. Here's another one. It says that ATMs in India will be closed for 2 to 3 days. Fake news. It was spread to create panic, to send people rushing to the banks. And that's the purpose of this, really. But it wasn't just social media that was the problem. Mainstream media also seemed to have taken the bait this time. And now we know that reporting during a conflict like this one is tough. The viewers want to know what's going on, and you want to put out information fast. It can be tough in the fog of war. So it's important to prioritize accuracy over speed. Unfortunately, some channels faltered and ran headlines like these. Indian Navy strikes the Karachi port, fake news. Indian Army takes over Lahore, again fake. Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir toppled in a coup. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif captured and locked in a basement. Imran Khan to be released within hours. Pakistani pilot captured after India downs an F-16 fighter jet. All of this was fake news. Yet it ran on mainstream media. The clips were forwarded on WhatsApp. They were retweeted hundreds of times. It was repeated so much that it almost seemed like reality. Why did this happen? Because the hunger to be first beat the responsibility of verifying news. It's a strange thing, really, and the paradox of the times we live in. We have more access to information than ever before, yet we are more vulnerable to being misled. And a war makes that even worse. In moments of national anxiety and crisis, people aren't just looking for news, they're looking for credibility, they're looking for clarity, something to hold on to during a crisis. And the answer to that can never be fake news. We know you want updates, but accuracy is more important than speed. At First Post, we are choosing to hold on to that. We are choosing to hold on to accuracy. That means we won't always be first. You may not get your breaking alert from us, But what you will get is what we owe you. And that is the truth. Verified, cross-checked and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat, and when we do, we will tell you. Yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. This visual turned out to be fake, so we are taking responsibility. And from now on, we will cite the source of every image, every picture, every video that you see on First Post will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you. We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again. Only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the facts. Because right now, that's what the country needs most. As missiles fly across the border, Pakistan has opened another front, not with weapons, but with a plea. They want more cash. Today, the IMF is holding a crucial meeting. That's the International Monetary Fund. It is Pakistan's last financial lifeline. The IMF will decide Pakistan's financial future. It will assess their current progress and take a call on giving them more money. The stakes are very high. It's a make or break moment for Pakistan's economy. So hours before the IMF meeting, Islamabad put out a not-so-subtle appeal on X. The post came from Pakistan's Economic Affairs Division. It openly asked for more loans. It cited the current conflict with India. It referred to the recent stock market crash. And it urged the world to help de-escalate. Now, let me be clear. This is not a fake account. This was an official government handle of Pakistan openly begging for money in the middle of a military standoff with India. Of course, the internet reacted instantly. India's very own PIB, Press Information Bureau, joined in with a sharp dig. Soon the backlash grew and Pakistan scrambled for cover. A clarification was issued. Pakistan claimed that this account was hacked and the post was not an official statement. But the damage was done. Now the spotlight shifts to the IMF. Will they grant Pakistan the next tranche of loans? Around $2 billion are on the table, and this is in two parts. One half is a $1 billion tranche. This is out of the $7 billion bailout package that has been promised to Pakistan. The second half is a new loan, a loan worth $1.3 billion. Pakistan is asking for more funds under the IMF's Climate Resilience Program. Climate Resilience Loan Program. They want $1.3 billion. So today's meeting can unlock upwards of $2 billion for Pakistan. This money is critical for them. Without it, they will plunge deeper into crisis. The country is already sinking under debt. Their external liabilities now exceed $130 billion. Foreign reserves are just about $15 billion, which is barely enough to pay for 3 months of imports. And there are significant payments due. This year, Pakistan has to pay its lenders $22 billion. Nearly $13 billion of that is owed to bilateral partners, and one of them is, of course, China. It is Islamabad's single largest creditor, also its biggest weapons supplier. Of course, India is watching the IMF meeting closely. New Delhi will have representation there, and they will want the IMF to block the money. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri issued a statement today. He called on the IMF to look hard at the facts. He pointed to Pakistan's long history and bailout packages. And India has a strong case here. Pakistan has received 24 IMF bailouts since 1958. That is the highest number for any country in the world ever, 24 bailouts. So India is raising some very tough questions. It wants the IMF to ask how that money has been used.
जहाँ तक IMF bailout का सवाल है, आपको ज्ञान होगा कि IMF की आज मीटिंग हो रही है. हम वहाँ पे अपना पक्ष रखेंगे और जो हमारा मत है इन चीज़ों को लेके वहाँ पे साझा करेंगे दूसरे मेंबर्स के साथ. ये बोर्ड पे निर्भर है कि वहाँ पे क्या निर्णय होता है.
In the backdrop of the Pahalgam terror attack and Pakistan's provocation since, India's message is clear. Agencies like the IMF should stop giving aid to Pakistan blindly. Clearly, that money is funding terrorist groups. India has impressed the same upon its partners. Yesterday, there was a surprise visitor in New Delhi. Saudi Arabia's junior foreign minister, his name is Abdul Al-Jubair. He met with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Jaishankar discussed the issue of cross-border terrorism with him, and today Al-Jubair is in Islamabad, presumably to share that same message, to try to get Pakistan to behave itself. As for the Americans, they aren't too keen to interfere right now. That is what Vice President J.D. Vance has said.
What we can do is try to encourage these folks to de-escalate a little bit, but we're not going to get involved in the middle of war. That's fundamentally none of our business and has nothing to do with America's ability to control it.
America is keeping its hands off this conflict. That's the message from J.D. Vance, their vice president. But behind the scenes, their diplomats have been busy. America's acting ambassador in Islamabad called on Pakistan's interior minister today. We'll have to wait for the outcome and for the IMF's decision. India says it will present its case firmly. Pakistan will try to spin the narrative. It says the IMF deal is about ensuring stability. But the thing is, stability cannot come with missiles in the sky and a begging bowl in hand. Let's once again check in on the situation at the border. Pakistani drones are being reported in the skies over northern and western India for the second straight night today. There's a total blackout in sites near the border. These are the latest images that we have. The Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister has confirmed explosions in Jammu. He said it was most likely artillery firing. Reports say drones have been spotted over Rajouri, Samba, Kathua, Nagrota in Jammu. We're getting multiple videos from these regions. You can hear air raid sirens and explosions in the background. Take a look at this clip from Samba. Beyond Jammu, drones have been reported in Punjab's Firozpur and Pathankot, as well as Rajasthan's Jaisalmer and Pokhran. This is exactly what happened late last night as well. We are hearing that Indian air defences are engaging the targets again. This is almost a copy-paste from last night's attack. Vantage continues after a short break.
We're just getting some breaking news before we close out the show. There's been a massive blackout followed with siren sounds that have been activated in Udhampur, a complete blackout in Udhampur. Also, multiple ceasefire violations happening across different sectors on either side of the line of control. So not yet quite the repeat of what we saw yesterday, but still heavy artillery firing happening on across the LOC. Akash has more details on this. Akash, so is it restricted to CFV violations and artillery shells right now? Are we seeing any kind of drone activity yet? Is there any possibility of a repeat of what happened yesterday, or it's following a familiar pattern?
I'm hearing the sirens. In fact, here in Jammu, I'm not allowed to go outside because of the light and some sort of restrictions that are in place. Zaka, yes, we are learning about one drone attack here in Jammu. In fact, defense sources are telling us, and we have heard multiple firing sounds as well. You rightly pointed out on line of control, we are having ceasefire violations in different sectors, not only in Jammu but in Kashmir as well. In Uri and Kupwara, we have been reporting since evening. And at this point in time, in Poonch and in Samba, we are learning about this ceasefire violation from Pakistan, where they are in fact firing the artillery. Here in Jammu, I have heard multiple sounds. I was trying to count 11 at least. I have heard, and I am learning. In fact, defense sources are telling me that it was drone once again. It was a drone attack once again. We'll wait for the police to confirm it as well. But I am learning that yesterday it was the airport, and once again it is in the close vicinity, possibly the airport only. And and agencies are in fact using the AD systems and AD guns to thwart these attempts. Once again, it is Pakistan trying to attack the infrastructure, and not only in Jammu. We have been learning about these sort of activities supplies in different areas. You know, Tejinder is reporting, in fact, about Pathankot and Samba as well. We have a colleague, Anshul and Anvit in different areas as well. They have been reporting about blackout and sirens. But as far as Jammu is concerned, Zaka, so it is very important. It is the international border, though, but it's a very part of the sort of attack that was carried out. In fact, yesterday it got started with Jammu only, and at around 8 p.m. This evening also, we heard sirens, and soon after that a blackout was there. Yes, it's a precautionary measure, Zaka, but it has been categorically mentioned by the police and the civil authorities that people cannot stay outdoor, and in fact they need to go inside whenever they are hearing these sort of sounds, and in fact whenever there is blackout they need to go indoors.
Okay, Akash, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. So yes, ceasefire violations are happening in Samba, in Uri, in Tangdar, all across the line of control. We're just getting some breaking news before we close out the show. There's been a massive blackout followed with siren sounds that have been activated in Udhampur, a complete blackout in Udhampur. Also, multiple ceasefire violations happening across different sectors on either side of the line of control. So not yet quite the repeat of what we saw yesterday, but still heavy artillery firing happening on across the LOC. Akash has more details on this. Akash, so is it restricted to CFV violations and artillery shells right now? Are we seeing any kind of drone activity yet? Is there any possibility of a repeat of what happened yesterday, or it's following a familiar pattern?
I'm hearing the sirens. In fact, here in Jammu, I'm not allowed to go outside because of the light and some sort of restrictions that are in place, Zaka. Yes, we are learning about one drone attack here in Jammu. In fact, defense sources are telling us, and we have heard multiple firing sounds as well. You rightly pointed out on line of control, we are having ceasefire.
This ongoing conflict is a reflection of India's new approach, a new and bold approach. It's very different from the past. Let's go back to 2008. Pakistani terrorists attacked the financial heart of India. I'm talking about 26/11. They targeted iconic landmarks in Mumbai. 26/11-2008. Terrorists from Pakistan killed more than 160 people. It was a deadly and daring attack. It left India grieving and angry. Back then, the world expected India to hit back, to use some sort of military action against Pakistan, but none came. New Delhi chose legal and diplomatic means. The United Nations Security Council condemned the attack. They also put some of the plotters on their sanctions list. 2008. Justice is yet to be served. Those plotters continue to roam free in Pakistan. Now cut to 2016. 4 terrorists attacked an Indian army base in Uri. They killed 19 Indian soldiers. Again, India had 2 options to choose from: diplomatic means or military means. This time, Prime Minister Modi was leading the country. He chose the second option. He ordered a surgical strike across the line of control. Now, this decision was not sudden. Prime Minister Modi gave ample chance to Pakistan. He made a surprise visit to Lahore in 2015, and while there, he attended Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter's wedding. He put his best foot forward. In 2016, he allowed a Pakistani team to visit the Pathankot air base. The goal was to jointly investigate a terror attack. So Prime Minister Modi gave multiple chances to Pakistan, but finally he ran out of patience. After the Uri attack, he set a new strategic precedent. If you attack, we will hit you back. No more free passes. That precedent was upheld in 2019 as well. After the Pulwama attack, Indian jets bombed Pakistani terror camps. Same in 2025. After Pahalgam, India struck 9 terror camps. Each attack has been more daring than the last one. At the same time, India has not abandoned the diplomatic route. We have kept up pressure on global forums. In 2019, we got the United Nations Security Council to sanction Masood Azhar. He is the chief of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. It took us more than 10 years to get him blacklisted. In 2023, we scored another victory. The United Nations Security Council blacklisted Lashkar terrorist Abdul Rahman Makki. So the diplomatic campaign is very much alive. The military campaign is about added pressure. It's about imposing a cost on such terror attacks. And the logic is simple. Pakistan must realize that every attack will be responded to. Every death will be avenged. The hope is that this will eventually deter Islamabad. There are critics to this approach. They say the surgical strike did not prevent Pulwama and Balakot did not prevent Pahalgam. So why would Operation Sindoor be any different? Well, the thing is, no policy is guaranteed to succeed. But there is a sound logic here. Eventually, these reprisals will begin to take a toll because the cost is rising every time. The surgical strike was a limited ground operation. Balakot was an airstrike, and Sindoor was an expansive anti-terror campaign. Even the headquarters of the Lashkar and the Jaish-e-Mohammed were hit this time. So like I said, the cost is rising every time. Perhaps eventually it will establish deterrence. But this policy requires boldness and a risk-taking appetite, and Prime Minister Modi has displayed both. Pakistan has always used the nuclear card to deter India. If you attack, things could go nuclear. That's been their threat. That was always the threat from Islamabad. We'll use nuclear bombs. But Prime Minister Modi called their bluff. It's very clear now that you can attack Pakistan conventionally. You do not need to fear the nuclear angle. Secondly, it's a risk to India's larger ambitions. Our goal is to become a hub of manufacturing and innovation, to become a developed country by 2047. Viksit Bharat is what we call it. To become a major world power. A war would put these goals at risk. But Prime Minister Modi is willing to take that chance. He is putting safety and sovereignty over everything else. It is a sign of bold and decisive leadership. Only time will tell whether it succeeds.
Hello and welcome to the continuous coverage of the border tensions between India and Pakistan as Bharat gives a befitting reply to Pakistan's misadventures and even displays its technological edge. Pakistan continues its drone strikes along the border, targeting several spots in Indian territory. Pakistani forces have unleashed drones in Jaisalmer, Rajouri, Amritsar, Firozpur, Riyasi, Kathua, Samba, Nagrota and Uri. Ceasefire violations continue along the line of control and in the international border, while India continues to raise the cost for Pakistan. That is the action being taken by the Indian state. In the recent IMF meeting, India has objected to the bailout for Pakistan, saying the funds are being used for terror operations. India has also abstained from the vote, and the IMF has taken note of the entire proceedings and the stand that India has taken on the international stage. We're getting a big piece of breaking news where top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that Pakistan is using long-range drones from Jammu and Kashmir all the way to Punjab. Sources say the attack was aimed at testing India's defense capabilities. India also engaged in drone strikes in different parts of Pakistan. So India continues to give a befitting reply to Pakistan's misadventures along the border. India also responded with heavy firing at the line of control as well as the international border. Pakistan's crucial posts were damaged in India's counter-strike. Today, a small quantity of ammunition was also added when it comes to the entire situation along the border. And also what we are learning is that several posts have been damaged by India's counter-strike against Pakistan, even at the LOC and the international border. This comes as Pakistan continues to launch those drone strikes along the international border and the LOC. But India also giving a befitting reply. Top intelligence sources telling CNN News 18 that India has also taken strikes in different parts of Pakistan. India countering the entire offensive coming in from Pakistan. India also engaging in drone strikes in different parts of Pakistan. India has also responded with heavy firing at the line of control as well as the international border. Pakistan's crucial posts have been damaged in the ensuing gunfight that has taken place from across the Indian side towards Pakistani posts, and several Pakistani posts have now been damaged. So India also raising the cost for Pakistan when it comes to the offensive along the border, namely the LOC and the international border. But as you can see, Pakistan not relenting, using these drone strikes in sensitive areas like Rajouri, Uri, as well as in Rajasthan and Punjab to counter India. But India also countering Pakistan with drone strikes as well as firing at the LOC as well as the international border. India is also raising the cost at the international stage with actions at the IMF, and India is also its air defense system is also taking action by preventing the damage being caused by these drones coming in from Pakistan, making sure that there is 100% repulsion of these drones that are coming in from Pakistan. To get more details on Pakistan's strategy going forward and India's counter-offensive, I'm joined by my colleague Akash Sharma on the broadcast. Akash, give us the details.
Right. So yesterday we saw that how Pakistan launched a number of attacks towards India, starting from Jammu, to then extending towards the northern parts, where we got to know that in Ladakh also, in Leh, in fact, they have targeted several military infrastructure, and then down towards Gujarat and Rajasthan, they have also tried several sort of targets. The interesting part was that many of the drones did not have explosives, which means that they just wanted to test the capabilities. They just wanted to check as to how India would react. And that's the reason why, there was an anticipation that something is going to come today. And now today also at around 8 p.m., starting from 8 p.m., we have seen that how in the areas like Rajouri, in the areas like, Jammu, Samba, and in fact, several places in Punjab and also in Rajasthan, we have seen that how, these drones were tried. And 2-3 points that are very clear out of these attempts. First one is, of course, the fact that Pakistan is somewhere showing the sort of capability where they are in fact able to attack from their home to a place that is at a distance of more than 100 kilometers, in fact 200 kilometers in some cases. Then they have in fact at the LC they are violating the ceasefire with artillery, even when they don't have enough of artillery ammunition. They have been violating ceasefire, and it is happening across the LC in the multiple sectors. In Kashmir, if you talk about Uri, Kupwara, Baramulla and all these areas close to LC, so violation has been happening, and artillery shells, artillery is being fired. Civilians are being targeted. Similarly, in Jammu region as well, we have seen that how in Poonch ceasefire violation is happening, and it is not limited to LC only. We have a violation at the international border as well, where they are firing the artillery. So a number of things are happening, and there is an indication that something big is going to happen from Pakistani side, given that today's drones have explosives as well. In fact, our investigation editor Manoj Gupta is bringing us these details that how the drones that are being used today have the small quantity of ammunition, in fact the explosives as well. So clearly clear indication of provocation, and not just provocation but